Okay, so now we can do this again. Welcome, programmers. Woo! Hello. Yeah, nice to hear you. So we are starting right now.
Yes.
Finally, and we need to actually, before we start, we need to answer two difficult questions. Why we are here, and that's actually, you know the answer. I hope so.
Do I?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. Tell us why we are here.
Well, this is the question to you, to all of you. Some of you came here for fun, and that's good.
That's me.
Yeah, me too. Some of you came here for fame.
Who came for fame? Rise up. This is the fame. The guy with Nirvana t-shirt, where it is. He is for fame.
And the third option is that you are here for money,
But
because the prizes are quite good.
who cares about money in the IT world?
I don't know, but let's see which motivation will win this year. Fun, fame, or greed?
Yeah, good one. Okay, and this is Collabothon 2022, and welcome on the Collabothon. What is our actually main reason? I don't know, but I don't know where we are. And we are in the zoo. Finally, we can meet in the zoo. And in the zoo, yeah, I know him. In the zoo, we've got, some different animals, and they live like pretty close to this room, so you can just go and watch. And this monkey is the I think it's a little bit scaring me because he's like, watching you, and you don't know you're watching this monkey or this monkey watching you. I don't know, but right now we've got some new creature, some new, different, and really magically creature in the zoo. Michał, can you show us?
Yes, and due to our research, this creature is named Programus vulgaris, commonly known by society as IT guy. But look at this guy. Look at him. He wears glasses. So I think that he must be a Java programmer
Java, why?
because he cannot C#.
And this is this moment. This is this moment. Yeah, we get it. We get it. We get it. I tell you, this is the good one. Oh, then this is the Sony.
Yes,
Oh,
but I think that we have more types of this, and there is more to this creature than meets the eye. But luckily, we have a great specialist here in Programus vulgaris.
yeah, there are different kinds of programs, vulgaris, and I don't know why this is so pretty close to you. Yeah, I know. Do you see
Coincidence.
Similar, yeah, coincidence. Anyway, we've got Python programmers. That's me. I'm a Python. Do you have some? Do we have any Python? Oh, I love you guys. Okay. Another like Java or C#? No. Okay. Whatever. Yeah, we've got it. We've got it. C# or Java? C# or Java? That's mean C# probably because Java both. Whoa, both. Cobol. Cobol. Yeah, we got one. Okay.
The
So
audience here is very young. They don't even know what COBOL is.
they probably know the pretty hot programmer language like PHP. Oh, this guy know all of PHP, C#, Java. What else? C++, everything. And he. No, okay. And he's in your team actually, and you're just sitting and watching, and he's doing all the stuff. So you're the manager. Sounds like. Okay, keep going. Sorry, that's. Okay. Let's go.
Yes. So again, welcome here in the wild city, or I would say, welcome to the jungle.
Welcome to the
Here, here you can meet with animals, and well, we have an agreement with Sir David Attenborough that we will be watching you and give him some feedback on this new species, Programus vulgaris. I hope that after these 3 days, we will be specialists in this topic, and then we will cooperate with David Attenborough, like you will cooperate here for the next 3 days.
Yeah, that's why during you will be the programming, and we will be like going somewhere and checking how you look in your natural environment. So be aware that we will be somewhere around you, and we want to talk with you guys. Yeah. Okay. So go to this next section.
Maybe one information as well, because we know that programmers are creatures that are powered with coffee. Then you can always go out there and take some.
What about food?
Yes, food as well. On the registration point, you can get a voucher for food and get some directions where to go for this food. So remember, you need to eat, you need to drink, because we don't want to get you on ER.
Okay, so who will be our guest? Probably someone from Commerzbank.
Yes, exactly. So our welcoming speech is end. I hope you like it. And now the welcoming speech from Michael Varona, and this is someone from Commerzbank, and this person will be with us online. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Butch. Thank you for being here, despite only via the screen and not on-site. Yeah, my name is Michael Varona. I'm divisional board member for digital transformation at Commerzbank, and in this position, as you can imagine, it's a very important topic for me to kick off the Collabothon 2022. Warm welcome to our Collabothon 2022. The main theme of this event is Urban Jungle, as you have heard. And that means that this year we focus on ideas and technological solutions to make our everyday life more sustainable. And sustainability is also for us in Commerzbank a very important and relevant topic. It's one of our major pillars in our strategy. And therefore, it's very important that you do this collaborathon. I'm proud to kick off this event in real urban jungle, in the Orientarium in Łódź. The Orientarium, with its more than 2,200 animals, provides an extraordinary and hopefully inspirational environment for the upcoming days. And it's a pity that I'm not there and could experience that. It's a special honor to welcome Mr. Adam Pustelnik, Deputy Major of Łódź, and other partners from Łódź Zoo, from Google, from O'Reilly. And of course, a very, very warm welcome from my side to all the 175 participants from more than 20 countries of 5 continents. Europe, Asia, Africa, and both Americas are here with us. That's really amazing. Yeah, this shows that this Collabothon 2022 is really an international Collabothon. Yeah, together with all the partners, we prepared 4 challenges for you, and I'm curious to see how you will tackle them. Thank you very much for being here today in Łódź and online, of course, and accepting those challenges. And the winners, you have heard that, can win fun, fame, and also money. And this is what we are looking for, to vouchers worth 10,000 euros. I wish you all good luck, and equally important, as I said, a lot of fun. And with that, I want to say thank you to all my team preparing such an important event, an exciting event. Thank you again. And with that, I hand over to you again to Butch. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. I think 10,000, that's big money. Yeah, we can buy some good laptop for that.
Nowadays, with that's inflation, I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so that was the welcoming speech from Commerzbank representative. Now, the next on our list is Mr. Adam Pustelnik, the representative of Łódź, and, by the way, Zoo as well in this event.
You should join there for sure. You're the star.
Guys, you're wonderful with your welcome speeches, way better than I am. I think we could all politicians learn from you. Thank you, Michael, for your greetings. referring very quickly to what you've said at the beginning, I'm neither expert, I'm an expert on Python, neither I am on Java, and neither I am on all those other languages, but I'm definitely good at sitting and watching people do all the stuff for me. So this is my specialty. So I think we could get along. But coming back to the main topic, I would like to thank, I don't know if to Michael, to Marek, or I have no idea who particularly I should thank to. Nevertheless, I'm really grateful to Commerzbank for bringing this Collabothon initiative to which is it's not an obvious place. It's a place, it's a city that has pros and cons, but it's definitely not stereotypical. If you think about the city traditionally, that's why such initiatives have a double of value, because they bring to the city what's mostly needed. We as the city authorities, we can bring infrastructure, we can bring some money, we can fund some things, but we cannot provide life. We cannot bring energy because we don't have the energy. Life, good things are brought by you. And if if I had a magical power, I would multiply those Collabothons by 20, because it would be a huge spark for the city. Coming back to the main topic, sustainability is a buzzword, the same as eco. Every city, every country, every government, every company wants to be eco, sustainable. Everyone speaks about ESG, but very few actually do something that's tangible and that brings true, touchable results in those fields. And that's why, guys, besides being grateful, we also have huge expectations towards you, because I can assure you that we as a city, whatever you will produce, I'm pretty sure it will be more valuable than what we as bureaucrats produce. We'll take it into account and we'll try to implement that. So please focus on the things that are, let's say, digestible by us as a local government, because which needs solutions and the sustainability definitely more than many other cities. So we really count on you and your intellectual muscles. I would also like to thank for all the big guys involved, for Google, O'Reilly, GoIT, who do a wonderful job with organizing IT technological boot camps, not only for people in the city, but also for our Ukrainian friends who came to us as a country and as a city in large numbers. And I think it's a wonderful job. I would also like to thank CodeAlly, our local Łódź-based startup, who were participating as participants in last edition. This year, they are a partner. So go CodeAlly. It's a sign of strength of our local ecosystem. And last but not least, I wanted to highlight the impact of what you do here. As I said, every city these days, every government, no matter if it's Anchorage, Alaska, if it's Kuala Lumpur, if it's Warsaw, all the cities want to have as many IT people as possible. They want to have as strong as possible the technological segment. However, very few of the cities have actually initiatives that spark collaboration and spark such good energy. So that's why, in my opinion, and you can quote me on that, such initiatives that gather the community together, that create energy around some topic, are way more valuable to a city and its future, as many of the more than many of the programs that you see delivered by politicians, by governments. So I'm really grateful for that, and I really mean that, because that's something that we personally, as a city government, would be unable to do so. So you do a job for us. As I said, we are pretty good at watching people do other stuff for us. So I'm double as grateful, and I wish a lot of luck to all the participants, and we really count on what you will create, because my boss, Mayor Hanna, she's a leader of the EU Commission program, the European Green Deal. There's a lot of money there. Everyone wants to be sustainable and eco, but we really lack good ideas what to do here. So with your thoughts and with your good products, you can help us deliver something really big. And maybe this will be not the end of a competition, but a start of a wonderful big cooperation that will really historically change some segment of functioning of the city. And I wish it to all the participants and to us as a city. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful hackathon.
Thank you. Well, nice speech
Really
and
nice.
very good language skills. I would like to see more bureaucrats and politicians speak like that. Sorry, I had to.
Okay. Can I also do something
Yeah,
strange? Yeah.
of course.
Hey, guy with Nirvana T-shirt. I'm fan also. Hey, guy with Nirvana T-shirt. Can I ask you a personal question? Really? Where did you sleep last night? Yeah, that was the song of the Nirvana. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so let's go with the agenda. Next step is someone from Google. Have you ever heard about this company? Me never.
Google? What is it?
I don't know.
Me too.
Maybe someone who's making glasses.
Maybe they explain us.
Yeah. So let's welcome Krzysztof Zalasa from Google.
Hello, Łódź. Hello again. I'm really proud that I'm here today. I'm representative of Google today, but it's my home city. I've been born here. I live here for almost whole of my life, and I'm very happy that together with our friends from Commerzbank, we are doing really nice thing. Because from this introduction, guys, you mentioned 3 reasons why people are here, but I strongly believe that there is one more, that programmers are much better than some politicians are talking, and you are also thinking about sometimes about giving back to the community, about using your skills to do something which is really cool, which has impact, and sometimes you might use your skills in extraordinary way. And I believe that at least big part of you are here because of this impact. And it's very close to core values of Google, because answering your question, most people, when we are talking about Google, are thinking about search engine. Maybe you are also thinking about YouTube, Chrome, and 10 or whatever number of products with more than billion of users, right? So it's pretty visible company at the world. But we are very techy. We have plenty of engineers in Warsaw. We have about 1,000 engineers coding our solutions. It's pretty huge. But what is very important, we are not only focused on our work, but we also are focused on giving back to the community. And I believe at least big part of you is here because of that. Second thing, I'm really happy that I can see you in person this year. It's really massive change in comparison to previous year, because for now I can really feel the spirit of the hackathon. And myself and my team will be here for a whole 3 days of the hackathon. So if you would like to ask some questions around Google products, around Google solutions, which can help you in your incoming challenges, feel free to reach me out, or tomorrow there will be also 2 more people from my team, and we'll be doing our best to give the best of Google to support your initiatives. So I hope you will really enjoy this time during incoming days. If you would be searching for inspiration, feel free to use all resources here, because I believe this place, this brand new part of our Łódź Zoo, is a very nice place to find inspiration. And sometimes in programmer's life, it's not only just about writing lines of code. Sometimes you need to think in very abstract way. You need to search for some ideas. And I believe this place is really brilliant in order to do it. So use it, use the opportunity, do the impact, and have fun. And yeah, good luck in incoming challenges.
Okay, so this is Google.
This
Now
is
I
Google.
know.
Okay. I'm working with GCP, but I didn't connect this to stuff.
Yeah, it's always like that. It's you always say GCP and you don't even know what that means.
A lot of shortcuts. Anyway, interesting talk, and that's really important. That yeah, we are coding, yeah, but the most important stuff is actually idea. This is the beginning, and this is the clue of something what we trying to do or will try to do today.
Yes. So now the main part of the welcoming speeches and generally the introduction. So you all gathered here for the challenges. And now we will try to present you the challenges. And the first one is Zoo Challenge. Can I see Michał Gołędowski here? No, I can't.
Last call.
Michał Gołędowski.
Oh yeah, he's
Okay, he's here. He's here.
Make some up. Hello, Michał.
Zoo Challenge, please.
That you can take this one wherever we can vote.
Okay, so as you know, we're right now in Zoological Garden, the owner of Ornitharium, one of the most modern pavilion for animals in a zoo all around Europe. And the Zoo Challenge is about to create some application that will support us in education about welfare, about endangered species of animals. We also want to share the knowledge as wide as possible for all users of modern application. So what we accept from your side is to suggest us something that like will be really easy and really how to say it, something that will help to spread information, what is the most important role of the zoo. Later on, you will hear all the presentation about the mission of the zoo. So we are the place that are concerned mostly about endangered species, about education, about science, research. Since this year, because of the hard situation, we also concerned about international support for zoos in Ukraine. So that's our suggestion, and feel free to offer us something as good as you can offer. Thank you.
Thank you, Michał. And maybe one more thing, because we forgot about one thing, because we have prize for the best team, yeah, okay, but we also have something for the worst one. And the worst one, I mean this one what don't have fun, yeah. And we've got sharks down there, yeah, and crocodiles, and probably some different stuff. So if some don't have fun, you can just swim with shark, and Michał will get it, yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Thank
by the way, can you wait a second? Because I've heard, maybe the question to the audience, do you know how penguins greet each other?
No,
It's like that.
that's another one.
Is that true?
I'm really sorry for him, yeah.
Then I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. Thank you very much. Okay, the next challenge will mix up agenda a little bit, but the next challenge will be presented by Krzysztof Szydłowski from Commerzbank.
I know this guy.
Hi guys. Yes, the challenge for this year from Commerzbank is really interesting. I mean, colleagues said before that sustainability is something important now, and we thought that transportation is a part for this. I mean, after so many months working from home, I believe that traveling to office is some kind of difficult for us. I mean, standing every additional minute in traffic jams or looking for a slot for parking. It's a little bit different now after those 2 years, and could be maybe a little bit more frustrating. Of course, nowadays in city like Łódź, we have a lot of new modern ways of transport. I mean, electric vehicles, scooters, city bikes, of course, public transportation, and at the end, our own cars. However, this is probably not most efficient way to travel and commute to work. But your task would be, and we will ask you and encourage you to find maybe some solution to combine all those means of transportation and optimize this, make it more efficient, and at the end, of course, also more sustainable by reducing the travel time and leaving the lower carbon footprint. And having so many ways of transportation is a good way. However, sometimes it could be difficult to find the best way for us, for the situation. So we hope that your ideas will bring something new to the table. Maybe combine all those means and make them to work in synergy, and in this way optimize this somehow. So we count for your great ideas. In case you would like to discuss this or ask any questions before you start the coding, please don't hesitate and approach us here on site. And if needed, for those who are participating online, you can ask question on Discord. So saying this, thank you, good luck, and we see you on the feedback session and at the end on your presentation. Good luck.
Yeah, you can always talk with Krzysztof. Yeah, that's a really nice guy, and he will help everyone.
But yeah, don't forget about Discord. For sure, for people here, it is easier to answer questions there. And of course, you know, questions may be multiplied by different teams. So if the question is answered once in Discord, then it's there for everybody.
Yeah, I love Discord. That's making our life easier.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so next on the agenda, again, this weird Google company, and Krzysztof will present the challenge.
Okay. Guys, hello again. Long time no see, about 10 minutes. Okay, so this time I'll be talking about Google's challenge, and it would be related with our current situation in Poland. So it would be a little bit less related to urban jungle, but maybe you can find a way how to mix it. So in Google's challenge, we would like to ask you for providing a solution which can support our guests from Ukraine. You know that during last month our lives changes, and we did a lot to support our friends who came to Poland and in order to just find a safe place for live. And they are struggling in a lot of challenges. I believe many of you are doing some voluntary activities and you are familiar with them, but I can just tell you a bit about my experiences. So for instance, it is not an easy piece of cake to find a trainer for gymnastic girl, 6 years old, who is the master of Ukraine in gymnastic in Łódź. Probably not a lot of them. And people are struggling also with simple cases like finding a house for long term, because our wonderful city brings them opportunity to use city-owned facilities, but it cannot be used forever. Our resources, unfortunately, are limited. It is not a sprint, it is marathon. During sprint part, we did excellent job. We supported our friends, but for now, now we are searching for long-term solutions. And in Google's challenge, I would like to ask you for building apps, for building solutions which can make life of our guests easier. And it might be about finding long-term, not just job which then can get in order to earn basic money, but which would fit for their real specialty. Or maybe find a really nice long-term apartment, not just using something which is shared with tens of other people. But maybe because resources are limited, maybe you can find a way how to use share economy approach and use it in order to support our guests from Ukraine. So a lot of challenges around this topic, and obviously a lot of applications are already created, but I believe that there is a space to do a bit more. And yeah, and it is a Google challenge. So I strongly encourage you to be creative, be empathic, and try to support people from Ukraine coming to our city by doing really nice stuff, which will make their life easier. So feel invited and have fun during coding.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because looks what weird time we got. Like a guy with nothing can use GCP or a different cloud and write some application to help thousands of people.
Yep, that's true. And this is what we are looking for volunteers, for guys with big minds that will provide solutions, maybe sometimes very simple solutions, but for some hard times.
Yeah, we already love you guys, because you can sit at home and watching Netflix, but we are here to help.
Yeah. There is one more challenge, but last but not least, but we need to wait a little bit for the representative of O'Reilly. So for now, I would like to invite you for 10, maybe 15 minutes coffee break, and then we get here and listen to the last challenge. I hope that you will just wait and be quite excited about every challenge. So for now, you can discuss the challenges already presented, and
Yes, drink a coffee and think about what we can do here.
and O'Reilly will start in 10-15 minutes, I hope. Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you. Okay, so 1 more second, 2 more second.
Okay.
Engine up.
Now I think that we are online. Okay, so welcome after the short break. Now the last challenge will be presented by Carla from O'Reilly. Do we have Carla online? Yes,
I'm
we
here.
have.
Can you
Hello.
hear me? Hi there.
Hello.
Hi
So
everyone.
can you tell
Thank you for
something
joining.
about challenge?
Sure. Yeah. Sorry. So I just wanted to say thank you everyone for joining the Commerzbank Collabothon. I'm Carla James. I'm the Customer Success Manager here at O'Reilly. My colleagues Ivo and James are travelling at the moment to attend the event with you all, so they'll be available to give demos of O'Reilly and to answer any questions that you have. I just wanted to say that we've been very pleased to partner with Commerzbank since 2019 and to be able to support the upskilling and development needs of their teams. And we're really excited to be sponsoring this fantastic event. Hope that you've all enjoyed your access to O'Reilly over the last month. So I'll give you the outline of the O'Reilly challenge for the Collabothon. The nature of the workforce is changing. Whether it is becoming more hyper-connected, working remotely, or connecting primarily through video. Organisations globally are finding it difficult to source the right technical and engineering talent, and they are upskilling and reskilling their existing workforce to meet that need. Please have a look through some of the resources provided by O'Reilly's thought leadership. There is a link to the resources on the Collabothon page, so hopefully you can all check those out. please propose a solution for ensuring that employees in your organisation can find the right opportunities for reskilling into technical or engineering roles, and that they have the right resources and network to help them on that journey. We wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that was the last challenge. Please remember, because we know that this is a lot of information, and you can always check the challenges on collabothon.eu. You can always go back there and just read the same things through.
Yes, a lot of stuff to do, yeah?
That's true.
But you can choose it. You can choose it what is the most interesting for you. Should we talk about some new animal because we already found it?
No, not yet. Not
Yet,
yet.
okay.
You know, I need to wait with my puns, because then I will run out of puns, and we have 3 days. So
Really? Okay, so what now?
well, after this presentation of challenges, now at 10:30, but no haste, no worries, we have the zoo tour planned. And generally, if anybody would like to participate in this tour, please gather downstairs in foyer. So this is near this registration desk.
Yeah, but
Excuse me.
don't worry, we will tell you again, yeah, when we will be starting this tour. So no one will be no one leaves behind, actually.
Yeah. And the important information is that we will have 2 kind of groups. One will be English speaking, and the second one is Polish speaking. So no worries if anyone doesn't understand Polish, then you can join English group. If you want to listen to some information about animals in Polish, join the Polish group.
Yeah. So one more stuff?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got new animal, we already find it, and it's actually bulldog. So we've got bulldog in the zoo. I don't know how they get it, but we have it. And we've got these 2 girls, yeah, from the bulldog job. And probably you already know what this page and what is about it. But this what is new actually is a bulldog guide, and this is actually tool for checking how to say it to that checking how much money you should earn. So they're making actually some data scientific stuff to actually check what is the normal stuff on your position, on your seniority, and you can just check that actually your employee is paying you good or not, or really good. So probably that's a good reason to change the job if someone thinking about it. And everyone knows that it's pretty easy in our IT job to change the job. But yeah, so that's from the bulldog. Should I add something? I give you Mike.
And we have the biggest one report in Poland from IT people, and we just checking how much you are earn money on your seniority. And about this, we want to make this tool Bulldog Guide when
It's all about money. That's it. Okay, thank you, and big applause.
Maybe one additional warning, because when you will be having this zoo tour, we will go with you and you will be participating in our stream. Maybe we will ask some questions, so be prepared.
About Python. Okay, so right now the break, but don't starting because the tour will be just in the minutes. We just need to bring some stuff to stream, and I will tell you guys when we're starting, so don't worry.
Yeah, and those of you who already want to go, then you can start moving to foyer, so downstairs near the registration desk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Today I wanted to tell you about the directions the front-end development is taking.
why those directions are useful, and how can those be applied in your companies. We can actually skip to the second slide. My name is Adam. You can find me on GitHub or even on Twitter. I'm a founder of CodeAlly. We have a platform for developers where they learn, code, and look for jobs. And actually, I think we can skip to the useful stuff. Okay, so the first trend sounds very obvious, and it sounds like it's something that's already applied ages ago, but it's actually not the case. The optimization of the front end has been happening for like 3 or maybe 4 years now only. Most of the front end apps used to be very heavy and slow. You would have those trends where front end developers would throw all the code on the users and then force them to download it all at the same time. We have quite a list of the things you can do to optimize your front end. Some of those are already widely accepted, like for example, getting rid of the very old and slow libraries, like for example, Moment.js. I think it's very important to notice the new trends that are happening. Like for example, not running the non-critical code right from the get-go. You will see a lot of companies ditching the analytics libraries for example, from the start. The snippet you can see on the right side is what we're doing to download all the non-necessary libraries only after the user has already rendered the app. So as you can see, we are using the inline import, and this is only happening once the app is already downloaded and running for the user. And this is pretty awesome because then it's not slowing down the rendering process, and the app is super efficient. I will show you later, but it actually takes 0.4 seconds to download the app like this. And this is actually a huge improvement. Like many libraries, like for example, Sentry, they have over 1 megabyte. And even if they are gzipped, they take most of the front-end's code. Some of the trends you will also see, for example, is ditching the dynamic rendering of the pages and using things like static pages or server-side rendering. This has been happening for like 4 years maybe, but the speed of the transition is improving, and for a very good reason. If you compare a traditional dynamic page to a server-side rendered one or to the static one, you will see an improvement of 2, 3, 4 times depending on the app you are running. And this is actually very huge for the end users, especially the ones that have phones that have slower connections, because you have way less run trips to render the front end, and the front end is way more performant like this. I think I can go to the next slide. Okay, this one sounds a bit more boring, but it's actually pretty awesome. So when you see an app that has been developed like 3 years ago, you would often see that all the styles are downloaded using JavaScript, and this is insanely slow. If you compare the performance of libraries like, for example, styled components, or even like if you compare it to the ones that are supposed to be faster than that, like for example, stylable, the case is usually that those libraries are very, very slow compared to the traditional CSS approach. But at the same time, there was a very good reason to move away from CSS. And if you check the snippets on the right-hand side, you will see why that is the case. So the snippets on the right-hand side are showing the newest kids in the block, the ones that are actually cool right now, and for a very good reason. The one on top, the one on the top is Tailwind. It's giving your front end some useful utilities that you can use as a class names. And those are very lightweight. Those are reusable, so you don't generate a ton of slides. You only have, for example, one item center class for the whole app. And Tailwind is actually optimizing the front end that it doesn't inject the styles you don't need. And this is really huge. If you compare a traditional app made in any CSS library you might want to pick against Tailwind, the performance will be significantly different. The one on the bottom is very awesome. It's made by the Polish developers. So what it does is it compiles JavaScript powered CSS into traditional CSS. So you can use dynamic styling, you can use variables. As you can see, this is basically just traditional JavaScript. But when you build the app, it will be built into the traditional CSS. So the app will be performant, and it will outperform any JavaScript in CSS by a huge margin. I think we can continue. Okay, this one is very tricky for developers. When I introduced those concepts to my own company, developers really hated me. But generally speaking, they love me. So I think it was still pretty okay in our case. But basically, you have to acknowledge that there is no one best way to render an app. So, for example, if you are running an app like Amazon, or even an app like CodeAlly, for example, you have job postings, then rendering the content as a plain HTML will not allow you to build the app in any reasonable amount of time. But at the same time, dynamic pages are by far the slowest option you can possibly have. There is a middle ground that's usually widely accepted by developers because they like having code written in one way, and that is using server-side rendering. But server-side rendering will always lose to static pages, and there is very good reason for this. Basically, static pages are by far the fastest thing you can do to optimize your front end. So usually what you want to do is you want to implement the different ways of rendering depending on the use case. And this is not very cool when you're a developer, but this is very cool for the end users. And I think this is the most important thing. The picture on the bottom is actually our own performance. I wish I could actually show you the code and run the Lighthouse, but basically, if your app is optimized, it can take less than 1 second to download it for the end user on the traditional devices, and on mobile devices, it can take less than 2 seconds. And this is really huge because if you see traditional web apps, they will take like 9-10 seconds on a slower connection to download. And this basically causes the user base to drop significantly by more than a third. Oh yeah, and one more thing. Basically, all the major frameworks you might want to use are already supporting our free ways of rendering. And yeah, there is a reason for that. I think we should continue to the next slide. Yeah, this is the moment where I wish I had my laptop. There is a ton of different websites that you can use as a front-end developer, and I think you should check them out. You probably know Netlify, Vercel, and Gatsby Cloud. Those ones are basically allowing a single developer to do everything from making the website to deploying it. And usually, if you want to do it without using platforms like this, it will take you ages. If you try to set up your own server, if you try to learn how Nginx works, for example, it's not something that is very pleasant, and it takes ages, honestly, to wrap your hand around. So using those free is definitely something that will save you a lot of headaches. The one on the bottom is very cool. So those are the screenshots that took me about 20 seconds to generate. So this is a Polish product. What they do is they allow you to generate front end randomly in seconds, and you actually get a file that you can use. So what you get is you get working code in a chosen CSS library that you can use, and you can even choose the design you want. You can even customize the design to your needs. And this is very, very powerful. It's extremely fast. And most importantly, you get the code to use so we can modify it later. Oh yeah, and there is one more thing. If you're not using Firebase or Hashura or something similar, I think it's totally fine. But if you are a new developer, they are definitely worth checking out. Basically, what they do is they allow you to spin out your own API without learning how to do backend code. And learning backend code takes a bit of time as well. Okay, thank you very much. Let's go to the next slide. That's not my company, unfortunately. Yeah, that's one is interesting. You will often see discussions about which framework is better or which one is going to die first. And basically, if someone is telling you that one of them is significantly superior to the other, they probably not a very sane person. I think all the three main frameworks are super useful, and basically it's a matter of preference, honestly. There is a bit more support for React in particular use cases, but the difference is so small that it doesn't really matter at all. If you prefer one of the other two, I think it's totally fine. The only thing I don't like about Angular is that you're learning Angular, not JavaScript, but I think it's also debatable if this is not a better approach. There is something also interesting going on here. So you will see a huge increase in the number of developers. And this is what's basically displayed on this graph. Like front-end development has been growing as an industry in the past few years. Like when I joined, the industry, I think, was like half of the current size. And this is well represented by this chart. Those frameworks have been growing, but mostly the user base is growing as well. And those frameworks are not going anywhere in the near 10 years or so. The one on the bottom that I included is an additional trend, and it's so different from the other three that I think it deserves its own slide. So let's go. Yeah, so this one is super cool. What they do is instead of providing you with a code that your user downloads and basically making the app significantly slower, they compile the code and it only has a tiny bit of JavaScript on top. And yeah, I think I included the gzip size. Yeah, so the difference in size is huge. If you see how huge on the mobile users' devices, it's significant. Like 22 kilobytes is not a small thing for someone that's using a mobile phone. And the library is also very cool because it's actually implementing a lot of the best practices from React or Angular. So it's not like it's totally new. Basically, most of the concepts are already familiar for you, but the rendering process and approach to the optimization of the front end is vastly different. And this causes the performance to be pretty awesome. Also, it's worth noting that the library is super popular among developers. It's been the most loved framework according to the Stack Overflow. So the adoption is growing significantly. They already have their own frameworks built on top of it, like similarly to like how you would have frameworks for server-side rendered React. And this is the case for the library as well. I was avoiding calling the name of the library because I forgot how it's called before the presentation, so sorry for this. But basically, I think it's really worth checking out. If you're working on your own side project, for example, I think using this will be a pretty cool experience. I was toying with it a little bit. They have pretty amazing library of examples. And I would definitely dig into this a little bit more if I was a bit younger. Yeah, and I think that's it from the trends. How much time do we have? I was expecting to be able to check the time. Okay, so we have 20 minutes. So I wonder what we should actually do now. Okay, maybe let's go to the top. The first slide, maybe. No, yeah, the one with the front. Okay, makes sense. So there is a pretty huge list there, and it's not even complete. You will see some other techniques you can use to optimize the front end. I think the most important thing you can do for your own companies, for your own projects, is splitting the code in a way that causes it to be incrementally download for the user. And it's not just the front-end code, it's also the queries. So for example, you can query some parts of the data in the backend when you have already some initial most critical parts of the data. And this is usually implemented via frameworks like, for example, GraphQL, when you're supposed to fetch only parts of the data and then fetch the rest. But generally speaking, creating your frontend in a way that's incrementally adopting to the user's interaction is very, very important, and it makes the apps just so much more pleasant to work with. If you're checking libraries, I think it's worth checking the NPM for the bundle size. It's not always, unfortunately, the same size you will see when you use the code in your own projects, but it usually gives you a pretty good estimate. Like, for example, we have one library that has 5 megabytes, and I'm not even kidding. This is a library for downloading PDFs. You will always see those websites when you can download PDF that they usually take a little bit to actually let you download. And this is usually because those websites, the ones that are actually popular, are downloading the code for downloading the PDF in the background. And this is significantly faster. And this is basically the only way to go. And it's not just for those huge libraries. I think even cutting down 3-4 seconds of download is a really big deal. Optimistic updates is also something that's pretty cool. You will often see that for example, on Facebook is showing you that the, for example, post or comment has been made even before it's actually saved to the database. So they don't wait for the fetching to finish. They basically show you the results right away and expect this to succeed. And organizing your frontend like this and making the user experience a priority, I think in those cases is pretty important. Oh yeah, and the last thing, if you are not really, we're not sponsored by Sony yet, but Sony, if you see this presentation, if you like what we do, please hit me up. We'll work on something. Yeah. Okay, so the snippet on the right is actually pretty tedious to implement in your own code. What you might want to do is instead use the Partytown library. You can find it on GitHub. It's been getting some traction in the front-end community and for a very good reason. Basically, it causes the chosen libraries to be fetched in the background. So you don't really have to think about this. You don't have to write snippets like the one I have written. The reason we go for the approach on the right is because we don't have to use external library for this. So our code is even more optimized. But honestly, if I were you, I would not write things like this because there are some libraries that break so badly that you wouldn't believe if you want to download them in the background. Like for example, Sentry is not really the perfect library to download in a hacky way. So you probably want to use something that's tested by the community that doesn't cause you headaches in the future. Yeah, and I think we can go to the last slides. If you like presentation or you just want to check out what I'm doing, this is my website. This is basically my company. If you want to learn some code on the Free Code Camp, we're helping them teach their users how to do backend development. This is actually something pretty cool about CodeAlly. What we do is we allow educators to run interactive coding classes. They're using our own IDE. Our IDE is actually pretty similar to GitHub Codespaces, and we're running it for educational organizations. So you can run interactive coding classes like the one that is being used by the Free Code Camp. And thank you very much for listening. I think we still have more time, but I think we're actually good to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much again. So the next presentation will be from the Commerzbank, and it will be at 3:30 p.m. Okay, I made it. Whatever. Thank you very much. Thank you, Adam.
This one will be about feedback tools, and it's provided by Commerzbank. So if anyone wants to join, please go to the second room. If not, just keep on coding. Thank you.
Przełączyć screenu żadnego, także musisz sterować.
A, robicie restry, czyli nie potrzebujesz tego.
Nie. Prezentację musisz dać. Hi, hello. Hello from Łódź Zoo. So this is the time for the next webinar. Maybe let's start with the short introduction. My name is Adrian Novacek. I work for the Commerzbank. At the moment, I am the product owner, and I have a pleasure to lead today's session about feedback and about the feedback tools. Why the topic about the feedback? So we very, very often talk about the feedback, and I have the feeling sometimes we really forget what's the goal for the feedback, how to give proper feedback. So the reason why we're leading this short reminder, because I'm assuming for all of us it's a reminder, is just to synchronize or just to put to the order the knowledge we have about the feedback, maybe as a some reminder. So first question, because I would like to have this webinar in much more interactive way. So first question to audience here, what's the feedback? How do you think? I know the answer is here. I am aware you see the answer. Any ideas? Why are we giving the feedback? Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So the feedback, the main reason why we're giving the feedback, we want to give the people the space for improvement. And this is the biggest and the most significant difference between the feedback and the criticism. Because giving feedback, we want to improve some behaviors, we want to improve some processes, and so on, so on. And we focus about the future behaviors. So which is very, very, very important. Also, the second very important part during giving the feedback is the language, the way how we're defining the feedback. Because we need to remember at the end of the day, it's very important how people understand our message, not what is our intention. Because in some cases, we can have a very good intention, but the feedback could be understood in a very, very bad way, on the totally different way we expect to be understood. And we need to be also very calm about the messages, focus on the behavior. That's the very, very important thing. We focus on the behavior, not on the person. We focus on that what we saw, not on, for instance, some person attitude and so on, so on. It's very important to focus on the behavior. And also, in case of the feedback, it's also very, very good to provide some suggestion for the improvement, because it's very easy to say, okay, I don't like that, and that. But at the end of the day, if we don't put our expectations or our feelings about the particular behavior, nothing changed. So it would be very, very important to provide some kind of suggestion, expectations. I will talk a bit more actually about different tools and the feedback techniques later on. So I think it would be very easy to see that on the examples. Types of the feedback. What do you think about this type of feedback? No, there are three categories how we can split the feedback. First category is good and bad. Second is positive and constructive. And the third is positive and negative. How do you think?
Positive and constructive.
Yes, exactly. There is no such a good feedback. There is no something like bad feedback. There is nothing like negative feedback. Feedback always is good. So feedback could be positive and constructive. That's a very, very valid point. Because we used to say, okay, I'm going to give you negative feedback, but actually negative feedback doesn't exist. It's constructive one, yeah, because we're giving the feedback to improve something. So it's never negative. So have that in your mind. Very often the wording have a really a very, very important meaning. Because if we're saying, okay, I'm going right now to provide the bad, or some feeling, okay, it's not the feedback, maybe it could be the criticism. So I suggest to be very, very careful talking about the feedback. Feedback is positive, always. And moreover, I would say feedback always is a gift. So it's very difficult for us as a human being to talk about unpleasant stuff, feedback to about the stuff to improve and so on. And very often we treat it as something we don't want to get, or we're really afraid to get. But we need to remember, feedback always is the gift. If someone wants to improve or we want to improve something, it's very important to provide the information. So I would talk a bit about Johari window. I don't know if you heard about it, but this is some maybe let's start with the example. Johari window, it's the way or the area when we can actually define the space for feedback. Let's say if there is some behavior in the team, let's say, and I mean not team, because there is some behavior we have, and this behavior, if this behavior is known to ourselves and exactly this behavior is known to others, then we can say this feedback, this information about the behavior is in the arena. So that's the one point everyone know about something. Other example is if I don't know about this behavior, but others know about this behavior, it's called the blind spot. It's blind spot because for me, I don't know that. I don't see it as a name actually indicated. Other case is when I know something, but others don't know about that. We call this area facade. And the other part is about I don't know and no one's know about some behavior. This is more or less how we can define and put behavior on the matrix. Looking at that, what do you think? Where is the space for feedback? It's blind. It's blind because if I know something and others know something, there is no space. Okay, there is for sure space for the improvement. Always is space for the improvement. But the most important part is if I don't know, but someone else see something. This is the most crucial and the most important to provide this information. Yeah, for instance, I always talk a lot during the meetings, and the people have an issue to disturb and share the opinion. So I don't know that because no one tell me that I'm doing that way. So it's blind because I don't see it, but others see this point. So this is the place when we can provide the feedback. The most difficult part, unfortunately or fortunately, it depends, is situation when I don't know and others don't know as well. This is the very, very uncomfortable situation for everyone because it's very difficult to influence this area. So that's why feedback is focused on blind spot. It's called Johari window. So if someone is interested, because Johari window and Johari theory, it's quite wide theory about the feedback and so on, I really encourage you to read more about Johari. Okay, type of messages. It's very, as I mentioned, giving the feedback. It's very important to focus on wording, giving the feedback. It's about giving giving informations from I perspective, or it's called I message. Giving the feedback, it's never describing the person, never describing the blaming the person. So if we're talking in the language, if we use the I message, then we're describing our observation, we're describing our feelings, and that's very, very important to use the I language during giving the feedback. Because when we provide the you message, that means, everything is fine with me, but you are the reason, you are the problem. So it's very, very small difference, but sometimes it makes a magic and open the discussion. Giving the example. If someone do not deliver the report, just imagine the situation, your colleague was obligated to deliver to the report that you rely on. So giving you statement, you said you didn't finish the report. So that means you failed, you didn't finish that. But if I say, I cannot finish my job because the report is not ready. So it's the same feedback, but the message is a bit different. Because in case of you, I'm blaming you. You didn't deliver the report. It's your fault. That the person understand. But if we say, I was not able to finish my job because the report is not ready, it's not blaming. We need to remember one important thing. We don't know the reason why the report was not there. We don't know if the reason was about the person failed, maybe someone was sick, maybe something else happened. We don't know that, so we cannot judge from the very beginning. That's why it's very, very important to select quite careful wording. And very often, and in most cases, it's really suggested to use I message or I statement. There are the different names. A few words about feedback techniques. I will start with the one feedback tool. That's a very interesting story with this tool because it's a very well-known tool, and it's called pattern or sometimes anti-pattern. So I will just give you the space to have your own opinion about the sandwich technique, but for sure it's very good to at least know that something like that exists. But like I said, there's a lot of controversy in terms of the sandwich method. But yeah, what's going on here? In the sandwich method means, so we're providing the positive message, positive feedback at the very beginning. It's bun in our sandwich. Then we provide the constructive feedback in the middle, which is a piece of meat in a sandwich. And at the end, there is also the bun, which is, again, positive feedback. It used to be real tool around 10 years ago. Like I said, right now, it's a lot of the controversy. So you need to decide yourself if you want to use or not. Give the example. So at the very beginning, again, let's have the same same situation with the reporting. Someone didn't provide the report for us, so we want to give the feedback. So then I would start this feedback that way. Thank you for providing for report. The information here are very valuable. It's next time it would be good if the report would be the reason of the another delays and so on, so on, so. So this is this meet, and I was just again saying, okay, thank you very much. I really like also the summary at the end. This is something that was very well done, and it provides us much more information we are expected. So as you see, we provide the positive information about that the report contains a lot of data, charts, and so on. Then the information about the delivery time, which was not as we expected, and we describe what actually happened and how influenced us. That's very important. We're describing how influenced us, not saying that someone just did a bad job or something like that. And then at the end, again, it was about highlighting the positive thing, which is a summary in the report, which provides much more we expected. So that's the way how we should, or how the sandwich technique looks like. So as I said, judge yourself if it's tool worth using or not, but be aware something like that exists. Other technique. So other technique, it's called FBI. How do you think? What could the FBI technique means? FBI. Okay, it's feeling, behavior, impact. So, in this particular tool, giving the feedback, as a name indicated, we focus about the feeling, behavior, and impact. Talking about the report again. Report is not there, so I would describe giving the feedback using this technique that way. I feel very uncomfortable because I need to delay my job because report was not provided on time. So this is the feeling and also behavior. This behavior, I feel uncomfortable obviously is a feeling, but behavior, highlighting the behavior in this case is the situation that the report is not delivered on time. And it's very important also to indicate the impact of this behavior. For instance, we could say because the report was not delivered on time, our customer didn't receive the data, and the reputation of the company failed a bit. So the trust we built over the last few months with the customer right now is on doubt, and so on and so on. So it's very important also to provide the impact. As you see, again, in this case, we didn't focus on person. We just focus on our feeling, how it impacts us, about the particular behavior, and also provide the impact. This is one of the next tool, which is, I think, also very, very easy to use. I really encourage you to try on the daily basis, actually, to use all FBI tool. I think then the name is catchy, so probably a lot of you will remember that by heart. If not, I will just feel free to reach me. I will for sure help to find the proper information. AID, next feedback technique. What do you think? What's the acronym of? Okay, answer is here, so it's too late. Action, impact, desired action. This tool or this technique is quite similar to previous one. Or we describe in action, we describe the impact. But the difference here, we also describe desired action. Actually, we're just giving our expectations. So action, okay, getting back again to our report case. So the action would be, I just noticed the report is not provided on time. This is exactly what happened. This is the action which we're describing. And then the impact. Because it was not delivered on time, I was not able to finish my job and deliver the data to the customer. And at the end, customer lose 1 million euro, for instance. That could be the impact. But the difference here is, this time, we're just saying what we expect. And at the end of this statement, I would say in this case, okay, please remember to deliver everything on time, because it's very important to me, because my job also depends on that. And I would be really grateful if you could take a look on that and pay special attention. We're just saying what we expect. And this is some kind of the contrast between the action, which was the current action, and the behavior, which is desired action. So we're just saying what happened, but what we expect. This is also one of the techniques. Maybe any questions so far? Okay, no. Okay, next technique called boost. Again, what do you think? This time I don't put the space, so you don't see the answer. So, any ideas?
Without of specific time.
Close. quite close, I would say. I know it's 2020, but I really love animation in PowerPoint. So my colleague just said me, why are you doing presentations? It's 2020, it's not 1998. Okay. Balance, objective, observe, specific, timely. So Adam, yeah, you were was quite close. So again, balance. It's about wording. As I said, as our human nature focus on negative, that is very, very important to provide the feedback on the message in positive way to ensure people we're just giving you this information. We're just giving you this feedback because we want to behave better. We want to make you professional, but not only professional behavior, much more strict and so on and so on. We're just doing that to improve you. So that is the balance. So that's again, be very careful about the providing the information in positive way. So feedback has to be objective. So that means we need to, which is difficult to be very honest. Also from my own experience, feedback should behave about the behaviors and facts. We need to at least try, because like I said, I know it's not so easy, try to cut off the feelings behind. Because the feelings, also our negative feelings, providing some message can influence our feedback receiver and could be the reason of the misleading, misunderstanding. So we need to be objective, we need to focus on the behavior, try to be a bit calm, forget about the emotions. It's quite similar about the observe, and the feedback has to be based about the observation, which actually is kind of fact. So again, situation with report. If we're talking about the report, we would say in this case, I just noticed the report is not on time. So it's observation. It's nothing more like there is no judgment. This is my observation. Feedback is not there. So nothing more. Feedback has to be specific. What does it mean? What does it mean specific? So first of all, we need to focus on as the name indicated. So it's not rocket science here actually. So if we focus on a report, then we need to talk about this particular report, this particular situation. I would avoid, and we should avoid giving the feedbacks like you always delay with reports, because it's very, very, very general. So the person actually is not able to understand if it's this report or if it was the previous report or what. So we need to be very, very specific. In the best case, it would be good to describe this report by name. The report blah 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 was not delivered on time. So be specific. And again, it's also about being specific on consequences which happen on the influence on this particular behavior. And timely. This is exactly what Adam you mentioned. Feedback has to be provided timely. What does it mean timely? So it's open question, I would say, because talking about the report, I would say the timely would be exactly the same day, week after, not later, just to say, okay, in this particular point of time, this report, the lack of this report influenced that, and that. Maybe timely means one per quarter. When, for instance, we're working on some longer project and team working for the 3 months, and then when they finish some part of the job every quarter. So the timely in this case could mean once per quarter. If we work in the Scrum environment, timely could mean retrospective. This is a really great, and I think it's a natural meeting and point to give feedbacks. To give feedbacks to the team members, to give the feedback to ourselves. I also very often used to say my team, it's feedback to you, but it's also feedback to myself as your product owner, because I know my behavior also influenced that, and that. So again, it's about the wording. Like I mentioned, I'm saying we failed, not you failed as a team. But yeah, again, getting back to the to the timely. In case of Scrum, it could be once per sprint, which usually is 2 weeks, but it depends, obviously. For sure, it would be very, very, very good if feedback is given much more often than once per year during the some annual planning or some reviews of the performance and so on, so on, so on. And also, it's very important, I think, talking about the timely, it's a bit mentioned about the channels. I haven't mentioned actually about the channels using the old techniques, but the channel, how we're giving the feedback is very important. Obviously, in the most cases, I would suggest, and also from my experience shows that the best way is to give feedback face to face, just talking, having just regular conversation. But I also know there are the people who need the feedback on the written way, because it's much more easier, first of all, to understand that, have much more time to focus on the word. Or sometimes it could be also give the feedback as some sticky notes during the team meetings. I would say, this is example, obviously, but I would say the proper feedback, the channel for the giving the proper feedback is a channel which is comfortable for both someone who is giving the feedback and also for the person who just receiving the feedback. So it would be good to, at the beginning of the cooperation, if it's possible, to agree some communication channel, the way how we're giving the feedback, because we need to all feel comfortable. It's also something to highlight. Not always every person is ready to receive feedback. So we need to be very conscious here, because sometimes even if you had good intention, feedback could be understood totally different. So be aware of it. Next technique. It's easy. I think most of us know the technique, but let's have some short revision. It's called SSC, or start, stop, continue. I think it's classic technique, but very easy to use, very easy to implement, and giving also quite good result. So very shortly, as the name indicates, when we focus on the start, in this feedback, I would like to provide the information to the receiver, start doing something. Focusing on the report, giving you the example, I would say, please start. That's a good, because right now I just thought how I should say that, providing the I message and positive aspect, which is actually not so easy. I would say I would appreciate if you start delivering the report on time, but I use you. Okay, as you see, it's not easy. It's not easy, but still. Giving the feedback, it's very important to focus on this particular one. Right now, when I'm just talking, I'm not able to, like that, figure out the proper wording. That's why it's also very important to prepare to giving the feedback. Because as you see, I just use you, which is natural for us, which is not good here. But getting back to this technique, we need to provide this information, what we expect from person to start. If stop, it's also about, again, as the name provides, stop some behavior. We have to describe here some behavior we expect that person or team to stop. And continue, and I would say the stop, maybe that way, I would say the stop area is constructive area in most cases, because we're saying, okay, stop doing something, so it means, okay, I don't like it, I would expect if you stop doing that. Start, it's more like also our expectation or some clue for a team person, what could improve more our cooperation or so on and so on. But continue it's I would say more about positive feedback, which highlight some behaviors. So continue doing that, and that, because it improves a lot our team cooperation, and so on, so on, so on. Oh, so for instance, yeah, there are some example. Cats, I know not everyone know cats, but I think everyone here know the cats, but it's about the reporting. So I would say start filling expertise or tools on time, stop coming late for daily, or start or continue proactively solve the issue. Just providing two areas for improvement, and the second one is it's a very good, continue it, really like it. Good. Any questions? Obviously, this is only, I would say, this is only the reference. The most important is give the feedback and make sure. What's the goal of feedback? Goals of the feedback is provide the person information and make this person comfortable with the information we provide. If you mix the different techniques and you provide effectively the feedback, why not? There is only examples. There is only the few examples, the few techniques, but there's dozens of the other techniques existing in the world. But still, it's not about the technique. It's not about the way. It's still about our intention behind. So I hope. Any other questions? Mm-hmm. Well, it depends, because it depends on what type of the team we are talking about. If we're talking about Scrum team, I would say the Scrum Agile itself, it's about the learning of failing. It's about the learning itself. It's easier. It's much more natural giving the feedback during the retrospection. So I would say in this case, if the team is not mature enough, this is a job of Scrum Master to coach the team, to coach the product owner, to coach the organization, how to provide the feedback, provide some tools, or even sometimes I would say not talking, it's a feedback, or some just start discussion, and the feedback will pop up automatically. So because the people start talking, problems appear. So in Scrum it's easier. If we're working in the other techniques, or even if we don't talk about the project environments, even some personal life or other groups, it's about I think quite openly talking about the behaviors, talking about the expectations. It's more about the building the culture, because if you lead some group or whatever, then if you give the example and you make people comfortable to give you or share the feedback between themselves in a natural way, that's the way as well. So it's more about the building the feedback-friendly environment. Don't call it feedback. It's fine. We don't have to call it feedback at all. So it's more important how we provide that and why we're providing that. In my team, we very often our Scrum Master sitting here, by the way, provides us a very simple tools, which is also the feedback. For instance, describe how you feel today by picture. It's very simple tool. Or describe the last sprint, putting the meme from internet. And we're putting some image which at the very beginning could be totally not related to that what we did over the last two weeks, and then suddenly we're starting the discussion, I don't know, about rocket in the space, and there is a story behind, and this story allows people in the very easy and natural way giving the feedback, sharing the feeling, because always is the story. I even don't want to talk about the examples of the pictures we had, but yeah, that's the thing. Any other questions?
What if someone doesn't want to see feedback?
Well, like I said, no everyone are ready to get a feedback, which is fine, which is really fine. But then I would actually say it's about the providing this feedback step by step to solve by I would even say by baby steps to show the person that the feedback is not bad, because in most cases when we focus on the feedback, again, as a human nature, we think and the focus about the negative thing. I would then pick some really small behavior, really minor behavior, and try to provide some information during the talk, maybe in the kitchen during the coffee, and observe. But yeah, it's not easy. It's for sure we cannot force people to, okay, right now you just received the feedback, I'm giving you the feedback, this is the feedback. No, that's not the way. It's for sure not the way. Good. So I hope this really short reminder, because I'm assuming we all know a lot about the feedback. I really hope this short reminder help improve ourselves on the daily basis to giving the feedback, or even encourage some of you to give the feedback to someone in coming days. So I would be very happy if if it's built this behavior in at least in one person to give the feedback someone in coming days. So thank you very much for this part, and have a good Collabothon.
Action when they are overexcited about the crowd of the people. One more important thing is like from which point we are getting animals to the zoo. Everyone still unfortunately think like our director or coordinators are going, for example, to Africa and catching wild giraffes on safari and or something like this. It happened like this, but it was over 50, 60 years ago. In this time nowadays, all of our animals are born in different zoological gardens. Professional zoos, and which zoo is one of it. We are members of European Association of Zoological Gardens and Aquariums, and also World Association of Zoological Gardens and Aquariums, and Euroasiatic. So all our animals came from other zoos. They were born in other zoos, and for them, living in a cage is something normal. But the word cage is not actually correct for this moment, because we are trying to make the best copy of nature for them. So for this moment, our exhibit don't look like this. for this moment, we are to create something like you could see at Orientarium on the stream or on the live tour. These exhibits are really, really big. For example, till 2018, 17, when we still have our former exhibit for elephants, our elephants in total has got 1,500 square meter area. And for many, many years, we were keeping 2 elephants there. For this moment, the indoor part for the elephants is over 2,000 square meters, and outdoor 2 hectares, and the second exhibit 3,000 meters. So even the smallest part of our actual exhibit is much, much larger than the previous one. Of course, it costs a lot of money. Of course, right now we are searching for another fund to make better the exhibits for other animals, but for this time, more or less 60%, 90% of our zoo is already renewed. And what is that? What I mentioned at the beginning? I mean the mission. We've got 4 main topics about which we are concerned. 3 really important. One is a site, but the most important for our visitors, because of the situation which happened right now in Ukraine. This year we add also one more really important piece. So that's what I'm talking is conservation about endangered species, education, science research, recreation, and international support. Okay, so the most important part is conservation about endangered species. As you saw during our trip, during our stream, we're keeping really lot of species that are endangered. At the bottom part of the slide, you can see something. It's part of IUCN ZIP. It shows the scale of threatened of animals. I choose critically endangered, so that's the animals which need most of our effort to help them, to save them. One step further is extinct in wild. So this status is for animals that can that for this time survive just in the zoos. Some of them we managing to bring back to nature. For example, I said it at the beginning, the morning, a story about European bison. After First World War, we've got just 11 left in zoos. None of them survived in nature. And for this moment, we've got already over 6,000 of them in the wild. So thanks to the work of zoological gardens, we managed to help them to survive. Other species, which, for example, in this time is in such a situation, is scream-tailed oryx. It was the kind of antelope coming from Sahara region, really majestic antelope with huge long horns. Unfortunately, due to this beautiful view, it was poached really strongly for Arabic sheikhs, etc. And they killed every antelope in the wild. For this moment, we've got a special program. We are breeding a lot of this antelopes in zoos, and we've got already 3 research centers in Africa. One is in Chad, one is in Tunisia, one is in Morocco, and we are releasing them back to this special area which are under protection. And for this moment, all these animals live in the shelter, but in the future, we want to release them back to the wild. I put something that is called EEP and ESB. It's something that was created by IASA, European Association of Zoos and Aquariums. These are two most important programs, breeding programs for animals. EEP is a program about these most threatened animals. Professional zoos has their specialists, the curators of breeding department, of veterinary department, of technical department, and specialists from this and this properties are cooperating internationally. We've got members all around Europe, and not only, because we are consulting our ideas also with America, Japan, Canada, Australia, and we are trying to figure out the best solution how to help animals to survive. It's called STAG, and in TAG, all tags has specialists from many different areas, and they are concerning about a group of animals. So, example, tag of horse is concerned about wild asses, zebras, Przewalski wild horse. And in this tag, there are something which is called EEP. So this is the kind of cartotech that collecting data about exactly each animal. So we know, for example, like we've got a single goat of some endangered species, and we want to find some male for her. So we can contact with this coordinator, and he said, well, for example, in Liberec in Czech Republic, there is a goat male that is not family with the one that you are keeping. So it will be the best choice to connect these two animals, so the offspring will be the healthy one and full of power and with a lot of good effort under the population. The second program is European Stud Book. So it's just collecting the information about parents of the animals. So there you can check, okay, I've got such an animal. Is it familiar or is it family of some other? And right now in Wood Zoo, we are keeping 40 species of under EEP program and 38 species in ESB program. In total, we've got already over 500 species of animal, but most of them are fish and invertebrates. So these two groups of animal are really not popular. Were not really not popular for EEP and ESB programs, but right now it's changing. It's changing rapidly every year. It's creating few new programs just for fish, just for invertebrates, because at the beginning it was just for mammals. Later on, something for bird appeared, and about the birds, reptiles, amphibians, it's mostly like under one EEP program, we've got few species. So if we've got 40 species in EEP program, in total, it means like if we take care about reptiles, amphibians, birds, it could be even more, but each EEP for mammal is single, for other animals, it could be for group of animal. In Wood Zoo, we are concerning about animals from two regions. Of course, you can meet here animals like kangaroo from Australia, giraffes or zebras from Africa. We've got European wildcat and bobcat from Europe. But most of the animals that we are showing here are from Asia and South America. Asia, of course, it's Orientarium. Orientarium is our brand new investigation. It costs 260 million zloty, so more or less 60 million euros. We want to show the culture, the animal, the flora, fauna of Southeastern Asia. But around the zoo, in whole western part, we've got huge area which is also concerned about the animals from Asia. And for example, from the main species that we are really proud of, we've got herd of Asiatic lions. We've got one male, two females. And this is the animal that for many, many years were in the log of our zoo. Because everyone is, when someone is thinking about the lions, everyone thinks, okay, they come from Africa. In fact, in the previous time, we've got lions also in Europe and also in whole southern Asia. But for this moment, we've got just one small population in Gir forest in India. It's in northeast western part of India. We've just more or less 300 of these lions. In Europe, we've got or around 100 of them, kept in zoos. And at the beginning of 20th century, 25% of Asiatic lions that were living in Europe, they were born here in Łódź. Our former couple were really successful, and child of them were spread to many zoos all around Europe. So for us, it's really important, and we are after our old couple died, we managed to to mix a new couple, and we hope, like, a female came to our zoo in August last year. Male is here 1.5 years, so we are accepting, like, soon we will have babies also from our new pair. The third lion is just our old female that was the last lion born here. But about the Asiatic species, we've got also red pandas. We've, for example, our couple more or less 3 weeks ago gave birth to a baby panda, so we are really proud of it. We're keeping also some species of cranes, some species of not really majestic animals, but the animals that really need to be protected, like for example, Visayan wild pigs. Visayan wild pigs is the second smallest species of the pig and second most endangered. We've got just a couple thousand of them left in the wild. They are coming from Visayas Island in middle Philippines, and every year the amount of the population is declining. So we want to focus on not even majestic species, but the species that need to be protected. Second part is animals from South America. They are concerned. We kept them mostly in the area just in front of the zoo. In future, the pavilion of the Ivory, Monkey House, and pavilion of Arirania, so giant otters and anteaters, will be all mainly for animals from that region. We are keeping some of the animals that are really not popular in zoos. For example, we've got three porcupines, coendo. We've got giant otters, which I mentioned before. They are just in a couple zoos in Europe. We are having bush dog. It's kind of a carnivore animal, which is really similar to weasel, but actually it's a dog. So we're really proud of our programs. We are trying to keep as much as endangered species we can. Of course, giving them best qualities to life. Second most important part of zoo in 21st century is education. And that's also something which we are doing right now. We are sharing our knowledge about the animals. We are sharing our knowledge how we can protect animals with our basic choices every day. And for example, probably part of you someday snorkel at the coral reef. The question is, do you use the suntan oil before sun protecting oil for just before jumping the water? If yes, it's a really huge problem because this cream is not absorbing to our skin 100%. The rest is spreading into the water, and it's making some kind of a filter on the surface of the water, and it's blocking the sunlight which should go normally to coral reef. And corals really need sunlight because they are having some kind of algae in their cells which are producing food for the corals. So if there is no sunlight, no food for corals, and they are dying. So really easy stuff, just put this cream not 5 minutes before jumping to the water, but 3-4 hours before, and it will help coral reef to survive. The second thing is, for example, you're going for a holidays to Thailand, and every 100 meter you can visit some kind of tourist office that is attracting you. Oh, come to our trip. You can go at the back of the elephant through the forest. Is it okay for the elephant? Of course not. Elephants were the animals that were never fully domesticated. You can meet many elephants in Southeastern Asia that were working in fields, etc. But these elephants were born in wild, in 99% probably, because these elephants which are working for humans are the elephants that were treated really bad when they were baby elephants. They were kept closed in a small cage. They were hitting by the owners. They were not giving enough food. And what is the problem? After 1.5, 2 years of such a thing, the mentality of the elephant is totally broken. And in this time, there is next person which is appearing in the elephant life, which is saving. Let's put it in fingers, saving the elephant. So he's taking the baby elephant out of the cage, and this elephant is giving all the heart for this exactly person. And that's the person which is the later owner of the elephant, and the elephant could do everything for this person which this person wants. So if this person wants, okay, go and work in the circus, it will go and work. If he said, okay, put this 3,000 kilos from that part to another, it will do it. Sometimes even with some serious damage for their body. In zoo in Gdańsk, for example, you can meet the elephant who's got paralyzed trunk. She came to Gdańsk Zoo in that condition. Before this elephant was working in circus, but she was not acting in circus, but she was working there. So she was moving really heavy pieces from one part to another, and unfortunately he damaged the nerves of the trunk, and right now the trunk is paralyzed. And for elephant, the trunk is really important because they are taking breath with it, they are drinking with it, and they are eating with it. So right now this elephant, when she wants to eat something, she needs to go from side to side to make the movement of this trunk and then catch it with the mouth. So she looked terrible. It's really not nice to watch her. But in Gdańsk, fortunately, she got a nice asylum. We're having lessons for children, for a group of youngsters, but not only. Also for a group of friends, also for some kind of organization for disabled people. And we're having 6 persons in our department, 3 more in commercialization department, and 4 in promotion. And all of us are kind of a guide about the Zoom. So everyone will share their best knowledge about the welfare of animals. We are also organizing something like, for example, Red Panda Day or Lion Tamarin Day. It's some kind of international celebration, like we are putting the most concern about exactly one species here on the my left side, see the photo from Lion Golden Lion Tamarind Day. So there was a special meeting with the zookeepers. They were showing their food. There was special medical training for the animals, and we were sharing knowledge about them. Other important part of our daily work is science research. We are members of IASA, as I mentioned many times, and we've got something which is called ZIMS. It's a special application which is collecting data about all animals in the zoo, and it's really useful for making some science research about the population trend, for example, and what we want to share the information is, for example, in this newest newspaper Science magazine, there is an article, for example, which was basing, for example, about the animals, the tortoises, which were living in a zoo, our zoo in Łódź, and they took the data from ZIMS program. It's collecting data all around the world from all associated zoos, and it's really helpful because if we want to search, for example, to if our rare animal is sick, we can check in which zoo it is kept, and we can contact exactly in the zoo, ask their veterinarians if they have any problem in like this in before, and they can support us with their knowledge. And also, if someone else is needing some help, they can also contact with our staff. What else about the science? We've got we are making internship for biology, veterinary, environment protection students. Right now, we are trying to enlarge this program also for some media stuff, for some photographic degree, because here we've got really nice planners for students to make some internship, and we are doing something like this. We are also making some research about the wildlife of Poland, and we've been even taking part of the a special program which was about releasing back to wild owls, European great owls, European bobcat, and European grass snake. And many of these animals that were born here in Łódź, they were together with University of Łódź and University of Poznań released back to the wild. We are also making some other programs about the welfare, the behavior of the animals. Also, it is possible to make some kind of PhD or master degree here concerning about the data from the zoo in Łódź. Recreation, so I mentioned it's like a side effect. Zoos in 21st century are getting more and more modern. The architecture is kind of nice. The area is full of green, full of animals. So people are coming here in the same reason as in 300 years ago. So the first slide of the presentation. But right now they can they need to force their mind a little bit more, because it's not so easy to find every animal in the exhibit, but as a second part, they can watch really modern exhibit. For example, our Asiatic lions, as I mentioned before, they came from India. We when we think about India, we are thinking also about trains. Mostly probably about because of Slumdog the Millionaire, the movie. So we use the motif of the train to make something like enrichment for our animals. So we've got two platform of train as a part as a viewing point for guests in our zoo. So recreation, that's the thing from that's a part of our mission from which we are collecting money. And as I mentioned, international support. As you know, we've got right now war in Ukraine. We became the one of two hub to collect the support for zoological gardens in Łódź, in Ukraine. I mean, at the beginning, it was just group of friends agreed. Okay, we've got some friends in Ukraine. Let's collect some food for them, maybe some food for animals that are living there. And it was the first week. Second week, we managed to join with Zoo in Warsaw and Zoo in Wrocław, and we start something bigger. And next 3 days passed away, and all Polish zoological garden joined to our action. And after next few days, all zoos from Czech Republic, really huge number of zoos in Germany join our mission. And after 1 month, most of the zoos associated in IAZA were part of our huge program. So it was looking like all the donation were coming to Łódź or Warsaw. And from these two hubs, it was sent to Polish-Ukrainian border. There it was repacked for Europe, Ukrainian trucks, and we managed to share the support with, as I remember, 13 zoological gardens in Ukraine. We organize 7 really huge transport with 1 or 2 huge truck. So couple, I think more or less 1,000 tons were 100 tons of food and support were and medical stuff was sent to Ukraine. Here you can see the QR code. It's still working. If you want to make donation, feel free to scan it. It's still working. We've been also collecting money. There's like 180,000 right now, more or less. Okay, and as I heard at the beginning, I've got half an hour for a presentation, so that's all of the about the presentation. But I heard like you want also some time for question and answer, so feel free to ask some question. Anyone from the room? Anyone from the net? Okay, we will give some time. If we can give 1 minute, if there will be no question, I will finish in this time. Probably everyone is afraid of me or my English. So thank you one more time. I hope it was not boring, and I hope you will now get some more knowledge about disease in 21st century on the example of Zoo in Łódź. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Dodaję.
It's live.
Maybe. Yeah, okay, so let's start. Guys, finally. So welcome. My name is Krzysztof Zalasa. I told it already a few times today, but I believe after this short break, it would be nice to repeat it. I'm working for Google, and I have a privilege to work with top mobile apps created in Poland. I'm
supporting them in introduction of Firebase and this technology in general. And I would like to talk with about Firebase and why it's a big idea to use the new product. I believe it might be better to Collabothon because yes,
Tu jest okay.
okay. So, first of all, I would like to talk to you a bit about the comparisons between Firebase mobile backends and in general, why we are creating mobile backends and what are the challenges behind. So, in general, for standard user, mobile app is something which you have in your pocket on your mobile device. And it's partially true because the reality is that you need to have also, in most cases, you need to have some kind of backend, something which will process data collected from your invoices, your orders, right? So there needs to be something which is not in phone, but the piece of software which is residing somewhere else in shared space. But with this part, there are a few challenges which comes to my mind. It's time to market because it takes a relatively long amount of time to develop mobile backend. You need to have skills in the team. So, for instance, like here at Collabothon, you might have a mobile app developers, but maybe not enough backend devs. You need to have cooperation between mobile and backend devs. It might be challenging, especially for bigger teams. Scaling of the solution because building authentication is not always the same. Cost of building this mobile backend, day two. I know that during pandemic we are not thinking about day two, but in real life we do. And how to log, analyze logs, how to do monitoring, how to do updates, patching, security. SDK. Do we have SDK for our mobile backend? Classic API or not? They are also reputable components. In general, not a lot of business value. You have no community support because you created it on your own, and it's really the most challenging part, I believe, in 2022 is that it's really hard to scale developers. Okay, you can scale infrastructure. On-prem it's challenging because of some bugs in supply chains, but in general, the main challenge today is to scale developers because we are lack of skillful people who can deliver products. And today I will be talking more about Firebase and why it is a good idea to consider as a next candidate for your next mobile backend. In general, Firebase has three pillars. Build better apps. So in general, this pillar is about mobile backends, and I will put it in context of some real examples and solutions. And then I will very briefly just mention about the next two pillars. So how to quality of your mobile app and how to drive user engagement. And its general scope of interest of Firebase. But as you see, probably developers are focused on this pillar, on building better apps, but it would be nice to track quality after release of app, especially for mobile apps. It's not so easy to just fix it. It's not a backend. You cannot do it immediately. It has some limitations, or it's also usually very different segment of people in your company are responsible for. But in general, it's nice to have opportunity to attract your users. Those three pillars, but let's focus on the first one. So how to install Firebase? I believe it might be not so easy to read, but in general, if you are familiar, I'm using in this course I will be using examples from Android. I'm working on Google, so it should be not a surprise for you that I will be using Android-based examples. And in order to install Firebase, for instance, analytics, which will collect automatically all major events from your app, like first open, etc. You just need to add few lines of code in your Gradle file. So it's relatively easy. There is no more things which you need to do. You just need to create Firebase project, then add those lines to file, and this is it. After rebuilding of app, your app will automatically start using Firebase. And obviously, when you will be using more components, then you just need to add more dependencies to your app. So relatively simple. In context of Java, you are just going to grab dependencies. Relatively simple, just adding a few lines of code. It's well documented, nothing special to do. So it's easy, but for most developers, especially during hackathon, this part may be very interesting because most features in Firebase with just a few exclusions are free. Okay, so there are two plans. First is totally free, and you might just start with this plan. You might implement it your app. You will be paying $0 per month. So it's very good price. You can get it. And if in some places your our default limits would be not enough for you, then you need to switch to pay as you go. But this pay as you go includes everything what is packed in free plan plus everything. So you are start paying for everything which is on top of free plan. So for instance, when there is 20k rides per day, when you reach this limit, next rides will be built. If you will not reach the limit, for instance, one day, then it will change. So it's changed. So definitely the pricing is one topic which can put the Firebase list of products which you definitely should check. Okay, so for now I will present you examples when I will be comparing traditional mobile backend with Firebase, and I believe most of you might met already this traditional approach, and some challenges might be very familiar for you. So first of all, let's imagine that you need to authenticate users in your app. I believe it's quite common topic. And in standard approach, it looks like this. So you have kind of API. This API keeps users in a database, but you need to have things like third-party identity management. You need to send emails. You need to do user interaction. And it's quite common when we are starting with a building app, we are spending a lot of time just for implementing all of the stuff, just for the first screen. Your user is able to log into your app. And it is a point because it doesn't bring you a lot of business value. It's just logging into your app. And Firebase has a solution for it. It's called Firebase App. It's identity as a service. Supports also logins like with email, password, but as you see on the screen, you can sign in with Facebook, with Google, and for more serious apps, there is a way how to integrate it using almost any provider of identity. You can also use just mobile phone or custom authentication. So definitely it's something which is very nice. And this is a quick screen from Firebase app. So for instance, you can see here, I hope I can at least, that for instance, it provides features like, template for password reset, and you can just select language for the template and send it, and you might just configure domain name and it's done. Okay, so obviously it has also SDK which you can use in your app, so you don't need to create it from scratch. So I believe this way is much better for most apps without very sophisticated requirements to implement this authentication, very basic first feature of the mobile. Then, probably you need to store some data. In my example, it is chat data, but most applications need to store data in the central place. And once again, we can see for very similar diagram, but you need to know things like scalability of this relational database. It's not an easy piece of cake if you achieve some scale. Probably you need to take care about encryption, but what is the most difficult is this offline handling. Okay? Because when your users are using mobile app, it's not a desktop device. It's mobile app. So they might be, for instance, in Italian, and then they will have no internet connection for a while. And if they will press save, the message cannot reach out directly to your API. So you need to implement your own logic to handle this kind of cases, because you are using this old school approach. But when you are using Cloud Firestore, which is a document database, it is no SQL. You can query documents with very flexible schema. It has very nice feature, which is not mentioned here, that it has 5 nines of availability. So it means that it brings you SLA that it will be available. It can be not available for a few minutes per year. Okay, it's not so easy to achieve in this classic approach, and it has SDK which implemented on your mobile app. It handles all issues with internet connection, but it also handles for updates automatically. So if Firestore will be updated from other instance of app, and this document would be interesting for your mobile app, you will automatically get the newest version. So you don't need to implement things like refresh. So it's very handy for mobile app developers, and it has also very nice language which you can describe permission. Which user can directly from a mobile app update data in this database. So you can express those rules in format like you can, I hope, see on the screen. So I believe very interesting solution. But let's go to the next one. Let's assume that you are selling something and you would like to sell additional coupon, discount code, promotional one, when app purchase is for amount higher than 500 USD. And then usually there is a well-known API, there is a database, but you need to also implement mailing system. So it means that usually you need to add to your relatively simple app stuff like message bus. You need to have workers in order to make possible to do some asynchronous process, because probably you won't send emails synchronously. It is not the best idea if I so in Firebase you might do it in a bit different way. So there is a cloud functions. Cloud functions is a approach when you can execute some code on server side as a reaction on some events. So it is written in JavaScript, so most developers can play with it. Usually it's very simple in terms of structure. It is based on triggers or HTTP requests, and you can run this backend code without running servers. So you don't need DevOps team. You, as a mobile app developer, you can just create some JavaScript function which will do some stuff for you, and this is it. So at this example, as you see, when Google Analytics for Firebase handles event which is called in-app search, then on log of this event, we are taking some properties of this event, and when condition is met, we are doing a bit different business logic than standard one. Obviously, it looks very simple. Maybe you need more sophisticated cases, but it is a solution when Firebase can be very careful. So in general, Firebase is good for applications with a limited number of business logic, but it's very good in this aspect. Okay, so let's assume that your users need to send photos of the food. You are doing photo blog of food. You are doing app for checks. And then there is one more component which needs to be introduced to your architecture, some kind of storage which could be shared across many services. And it's usually hardware, and it's painful in terms of management. But sending files to this component is also a challenge, right? Because transferring files, it's something which needs to be somehow covered. Scalability, disaster recovery, doing backups of it, is also a thing which you need to manage. You can also use storage, so you can store and serve media. It has 11.9 for durability. So from probability point of view, it's more probable that you will be hit by something falling from the sky than your file will be lost. But still, there is not 100%, but pretty long series of times. It scales automatically, and it has global cache, edge cache, so it means that it could be very close to your resources. This is complete example of code which takes file and sends it to cloud storage. It is not all lines of code, and this code snippet is totally 100% functional, and as you see, a lot of comments, right? So it's not real enterprise old school application, it has comments as well. When we will remove comments, it will take half of this. Relatively easy. Okay, so then when you will be publishing your app, then you will have challenge that you need to provide terms and conditions. We as Google always are asking for it since in Apple. And then you need to host some kind of microsite with content of the terms of service and tools of your apps. It is just another of deploy. And in traditional way, you need to have some kind of web server, one second the file for some storage for files usually, but low latency usually is not the best parameter which you can get. Then you need to play with SSL certificate. I'm not sure how often are you playing with SSL certificates, especially in larger organizations, because in more agile there are some few options which are available for free, but in general, SSL certificate might take a lot of time to be implemented in your apps. And global presence, so being relatively close to your end users might make a difference. So let's imagine that your app will be deployed in Brazil and in Poland and in Singapore, for instance. And then when you will have data center just in Poland, your customers from Brazil and from Singapore will wait about half seconds more than users in Poland and in testers. So you may even don't know that it is an issue. In fact, this hosting is very handy option to manage it, because you can code very simple static pages using global CDN provided by Google. So it has over 100 points of presence around the world. So it means that your website will be served from the closest location to your customers. For the first time, it will be handled from central storage and cached there, and then it will be served really close to your user. So it would be fast, it will have SSL, it will support custom domain name. So relatively easy way to host application like, very simple support for mobile app, but it's quite common also for hosting single page web apps, even during those type of activities like hackathon. And you will have also different feature channels, so you might test your app. I know that during hackathon you are testing from production, but in the real environment you would like to have something like staging, testing, UAT, up to you how you will name it. And you would like to track versions, who did the change. So definitely very handy tool. Simple but powerful because it uses Google transaction scenes. So it's really challenging to do it in this moment. And let's think that you need to add some kinds of image recognition in your app. So for instance, you are collecting those images from your users, which is intended to do food. But by some reason, some nasty users might send you a picture of zombie, and it's not so tasty, and your visitors might be not so happy with it. So maybe you need to do some automatic selection of those images, and when content might be somehow not proper for your app, maybe you might do some action. And then there is a classic approach that there is API. You might have some kind of machine learning model, but usually all stuff related to machine learning is relatively complex. Right? You need to have a training set for data. Then you need to label those data. Then you need to train your model. You need to deploy those models, to evaluate those models. So a lot of stuff to do. And in general, it is a dedicated topic, which in most cases you would have separated team just to handle this solution. But I believe that for creating powerful models, you don't need it in many cases. And machine learning key for Firebase works in both modes. On edge, it means that it might work 100% on device without connection to internet, but it might also work in the cloud when there is much more compute power to use more powerful machine models. I will explain it in a while. It has some out-of-the-box APIs for common use cases, and one of my favorite use cases is OCR. So Brainy, it's an app for students, which helps students to solve their homework. You can take a photo of your homework. Then this component automatically recognizes text on the homework, sends it to internal search engine, and provides answer. So it can do this, for instance, here, or as we had this example with zombies, it can check your content against some sensitive categories. And you might use just regular solutions, or you might train your own models. So, for instance, in the factory or in the bank, you might have special needs, and then there is also a way how to train. So, on device has one advantage that it's free. Okay, so you are just using Firebase for deployment models, but it is depending on capacity and power of your mobile device. In many cases, cloud-based solution is more powerful and means better accuracy. So some customers are doing the following: that they are using, they're using on-device version as a first step, and if it brings sufficient level of quality, it is used. If it's not, then we are asking as a second step more sophisticated model, and then we'll be paying a bit for it, but this model is quite dependent results. So this is the short story about mobile backend based on Firebase. Obviously, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If not, I will go to two more components, two more pillars of Firebase, and briefly explain a few more possibilities. So let's assume that in previous point we build this app. So this app has even authentication, mobile, it stores data, it stores files, it also is able to execute some backend code. It even has some basic machine learning capabilities. But when you will deploy this application, you need to take care also of application quality. And first thing is that you need to collect logs. Okay, and mobile app, it's not an easy piece of cake because those logs are collected on devices in your pocket. And Crashlytics is a tool which which takes responsibility of collecting logs for you. So when you will add it to this Gradle file, it will collect all crashes of your app with very detailed stack trace, information, all the data which are useful for debugging. You can group, prioritize, and in general, you can, first of all, know that there is an issue, and second, you can relatively easily fix this issue because you will have data. Without this type of tool, you will be deploying and then you might read comments on Google Play or that something is. I believe this solution is better. And as a side note, one of the biggest companies in this country has very strict security. And they are afraid about most of the tools which I presented to you, but they choose this one and they implemented Crashlytics as a first. And I asked them why, because it can include very sensitive information, and you allow use of this tool, but you cannot allow the rest. And they told me, okay, but risk that those errors will be exposed to customers is much higher than, in our opinion, than risk related to implementing this. So I believe Crashlytics is very nice tool for you when you're building mobile. Second thing is Firebase performance, because your app probably will be tested as a first line on mobile app developers' device. And frankly speaking, which mobile developer is using Android 5 or any legacy, most of us are spending some money on buying the most recent hardware, and it works. But our customers are not as lucky as we are, and monitoring of performance, how fast our application is behaving, is very important. Obviously, it also can check communication with our third-party systems, like how fast images are loaded to your app with photos of food. And because of this feature, you can check that, for instance, change in this particular version impacted the overall performance of your application, and then you might do some detailed investigation. So I believe that's very useful. If you have testers, if you have QA team, I know that you need to be very lucky to have one. But if you have, then there is always a challenge with capacity of team. Is the first challenge. And second is about number of hardware which you have in your office or in your lab. So I can remember from old good days that we have this bunch of different mobile devices, and we were testing our mobile apps on tens of devices just in order to be sure that it will work on different models and operating system versions. And for now, you might use Firebase Test Lab. So the idea behind this is that you might create a set of automatic tests. It's relatively easy. It's supported, for instance, by Android Studio, that you might just do the scenario and it will be recorded and you might just play it. Or you might do some kind of exploratory test. So it might try to click everything in your app and provide you a nice report if something crashed or not. And when you have this testing scenario, then you might use Google data center and devices collected by Google Google in one of our data centers to run those tests on physical hardware devices, and you can choose from tens of them. So you might just select a combination of devices. It would be physical devices. You might use virtual devices as well, just for quick smoke tests. And this tool is very nice when you would like to do really good coverage of automatic tests and improve quality of your app, and check it across many configurations of operating system and languages. Everyone who at least once translation from English to German of some IT components knows that it might bring additional challenges because of difference in and so forth. And when we have nice build up, we are monitoring quality, then there is a time for growing this up. I'll be talking just a bit more briefly. So Google Analytics for Firebase is a solution which can analyze events in your mobile app. So what your users are doing in your mobile app. As a developer, it might be important because you might realize that users are not able to buy something because they are facing some challenges of usability or quality of some components on some devices. So Google Analytics for Firebase is really nice to just analyzing what users are doing, and it's a base for the rest of components which I will just present. Then there is Firebase Cloud Messaging, so push notifications. If you would like to send push notifications to your users, then you are just implementing in your app. You might send those notifications from Firebase console, just select group, for instance, hey, all people from Poland are receiving this notification and it's on. But you might also implement join it with your backend and send notification when something happens. So for instance, new cash transfer appears on your bank account and you would like to send this good message to your user. So it has the flavors and both of them are very Then there is a Firebase remote config. So you might change configuration of mobile app deployed, which is placed in store, deployed in your customers' pockets, managing it in remote way, and it's very handy. So, for instance, all people from Poland might get, or from Łódzkie voivodeship, you might get different set of colors. Right? So this kind of features you can do by remote config, and it will be related with one more component which I will present in a while. Dynamic link is useful when you would like to promote your app across many other medias. So in general, it creates one link, and it depends. When you will open it on Android, it will direct you to Play Store, to your particular app, and when you install, you might even do redirect to particular view on your app. So it's used just for promotion, and the same link will redirect different user which is opening from iOS to App Store, and the same logic will follow for the web app. So handy for promotion. A/B testing. I'm not sure how many of you already did at least one A/B test in professional career. I can see slides, so it's good. But frankly, I did some interviews, a technical interviewer, and this topic was very challenging. So, in general, idea is that we can have our best knowledge, we can have our good feeling, but in general, it's better to test on real data and do decisions based on data. And A/B testing is a tool which can use this remote config, which I previously mentioned, and it can manage it on scale. So, for instance, you may choose a group of people and ask this tool that choose if red or blue button would be better. And as end goal is that user clicks this button and completes some important action in your app, right? So A/B testing makes possible to test many variants of your app, and based on parameters which you can define, it selects what is better for your app, and then you might just use do decision based on numbers, not based based on your intuition. And failed predictions. So if you are, for instance, building a page or app and your users are not so happy with your app and some users are very happy with your app, you would like to get those users, for instance, which are not so happy and maybe do some extra for them, like sending them extra coupon, extra code, attractive, offer them extra trial, tutorial. Firebase prediction can just identify groups of those users, like which probably there is a high probability that they will churn in app. So very very handy, but maybe on later stage, not the very beginning. And this is it. So if you have any questions, feel free to join. Not a lot.
I have one.
Yeah, sure.
So I assume that it's pretty easy to start building up a Firebase app. And what about if you already have the app and you think about the switch? So you need to do it partially, or you need to do like one big step?
Yes. Good question. So in general, Firebase has over 20 components, and you can select just one and start from this one. And the only dependencies is that Google Analytics for Firebase is needed for all components in this engagement. Okay, so for instance, in order to do A/B test needs to have data about the performance, about behaviors of users in order to decide which A or B is better, right? So it has dependency on analytics. But the rest of components are totally independent. So Google Analytics for Firebase might be dependency for other components, but the rest of them are totally independent. So for instance, if you have need that you would like to store data in Firestore, you might just store data in Firestore and you don't need to implement the rest of it. As I said, analytics and crashlytics, so understanding what your users are doing and understanding whether your app is crashing, there are probably candidates which are relatively easy to start with. And it's really hard to imagine top-class application without this type of knowledge. Questions? Now it's relatively late, so thank you for your time, very welcome for being here. I hope you enjoyed the session and see you tomorrow.